So I recently had to talk a lot with some of our current clients about attribution. Some did not understand the attribution models used by the ad platforms themselves or also by third-party softwares like Attribution. I thought to myself, if they have these questions and they're seven-figure e-commerce brand owners, then other business owners out there might have the same questions. So in today's video, I want to show you what are the different attribution models used by various ad platforms. So primarily going to show TikTok, Facebook, and Google. Talk about also Attribution and their ways of attributing, what it means, and when you would want to use one model over another. My name is Justin, and I'm the founder at Wizo Media, an e-commerce marketing agency specializing in elevating thriving brands by simplifying e-commerce growth. So I first want to talk about the actual ad platforms before getting into Attribution. So let's first read, because I love actually the way Facebook explained that. And I love the first sentence that they have right here, which I think is a very good way to summarize this whole point. An attribution setting is a finite period of time during which conversions can be credited to your ads and used to inform campaign optimization. So oftentimes we talk about attribution just because we want to know how many sales did the platform actually get. And you might want to know this for two different reasons, right? You might want to know this for where you want to put more resources into, so what ad platform you actually want to invest more money into, or also for how much you need to pay your agency, right? What is the actual impact of your agency? But there's a big and even more important reason, which is the third reason right here, which truthfully the main use of an attribution model is to inform the ad platform of the events occurring on the website. So where I'm going with this is the following. Let's say you're just doing boosted posts. So if you're running boosted posts, and we're not even talking about ads, so boosted posts or promoted posts on TikTok as an example. In these cases, the events for which you're optimizing for are events that are on the ad platform. So you're optimizing for engagement, for likes, for more comments, more views, whatever that might be. You're optimizing for something on the platform. Link clicks also is one of them. So all of these events happen on the platform. So therefore, there's no need for a pixel because the platform can directly track these events from their own platform. But when you talk about running ads for anything happening on a website, so you run ads for landing page views, for add to carts, initiate checkouts, purchases, for booked calls. So anything from a lead gen space to info product to e-commerce, anything occurring on the website, you need the pixel, because any events happening on the website, the pixel installed on the site will send that data back to Facebook. But the frequency at which it sends this data back will depend on the attribution setting that you have. Here, actually, I don't think I've used the right word. I just realized I said frequency. It's not entirely true. It'll send every event back as they happen, but it won't take into account these events unless they're part of the attribution window that you have set up right here. So in this case, as an example, the default model that there is on Facebook, which we also use at the agency, is 7-day click or 1-day view. What that means is the following. From 7 days of the start date where somebody clicks on an ad, if they do a conversion event within those 7 days. So let's just say, as an example, for the sake of explaining this concept, you are currently running a purchase conversions event campaign, and your attribution model is 7-day click or 1-day view. So if somebody clicks on the ad today, for the next 7 days, the pixel will remain aware of the actions from that person. If they end up making a purchase, which is the event you're optimizing for, within the next 7 days, it'll send that event back to Facebook. Or there's 1-day view, which means that if the person views the ad today and they make a purchase within the next 24 hours, it'll also send this data back to your campaigns. And what that does is not only will you see the results appearing if you look at your performance results on Facebook, but Facebook will also start to take notice of these events and be able to optimize your campaigns, because it'll look at who's converting during this time frame and try and find more people of the same people that convert within this 7-day click or 1-day view window. So again, keep in mind, this is very important, because let's say you use another model right here, you use 1-day click. Then what that means is that Facebook would only be recording events for 24 hours from when somebody does a click. If they do not purchase, in the case that you're running a purchase conversion event campaign, within 24 hours of clicking the ad, it won't get sent back to the campaign. So it won't get attributed to your campaign, and Facebook won't take that event into account when optimizing and trying to find more people that are more likely to convert. So it's very important that you are diligent with what model that you use. The default is usually sufficient for us. 7-day click might also want to be a model that you might want to use right here, but I usually advise against 1-day click or the 1-day click, 1-day view that they also offer. Honestly, your buying cycle would have to be very specific in order for you to do that. Maybe you have a very low AOV product and you want the most qualified buyers to get in with that product, then you probably want to use a one-day click or the one-day click and one-day view window. Or let's say you have a very high budget and you want fast conversions and you want to make sure that, again, you get the highest quality buyers, then again, you could probably do one-day click or the one-day click and one-day view. But in most cases, I'd say stick to 7-day click or 7-day click, one-day view, which is the default model. I will quickly go over TikTok because truthfully, the way TikTok optimizes is pretty much the exact same way as Facebook. Though they use different terms. They use the mobile measurement partner to track conversions from the TikTok app campaigns. Again, it's fairly similar way of optimizing. I also like the way that they frame it right here. So what they basically frame exactly the point I was trying to make right now with Facebook, which they say the conversion data then shown in the TikTok ads manager is the foundation for future optimizations in the campaign. And when you look at Google, Google is honestly its own beast. It has kind of different attribution than Facebook and TikTok. Facebook and TikTok are very similar in attributions, and those are the primary channels used at the agency. Whereas Google, you can attribute based on a last click, first click, linear, time decay, position based, or data driven model. Usually we're probably going to use last click or first click. Linear, maybe, honestly, very rare. Most of the time it's actually going to be a first click basis, especially if our goal with Google is to do acquisition, because a lot of the time the branded search campaign, as an example, in Google will get a lot of the credit if you use last click, which again creates this sort of gray zone with a brand where are those actually the sales that we brought in as an agency, or are those sales that they've got from organic traffic that just click on the branded search ad. So first click is usually good on Google if you're doing primarily acquisition. And last but not least, which I think is the bulk of what I want to discuss, is the way that Triple L attributes back that data, because Triple L they basically have, I believe it's 6 models. So they have last click, first click, attribution, attribution plus views, linear paid, and linear all. That's right. So 6 models that they operate from, although we actually truthfully only use 3 of those at the agency. So just like Google had right there's also a last click model attributed right here on Triple L. So they explained it honestly very well right here. So if somebody views Facebook ad 1, Facebook ad 2, and then a Google ad and made the purchase, ad receiving the credit would be the Google ads. So only the last one would get it. So again, in this case, if you're running any branded search ads on Google, then yet again, it'll get most of the conversions, which is not exactly what you want to report back on. So which is why a lot of the time, as mentioned earlier, first click is going to be something that we're going to use to report back to clients on Google. So right here, as an example, again, if customer clicked on Facebook ad 1, Facebook ad 2, then Google ad and made their purchase, the receiving credit would be given to Facebook ad 1. Now, triple attribution is more like the real way that platforms attribute back on their respective ends, with a fix for the random attribution patterns that you might find on TikTok or Facebook. So hear me out. Basically, the way triple attribution works is, as it says right here, it gives full credit to the last ad click per ad channel, which is usually what ends up happening anyways with the ad platforms, right? If you're running, as an example, TikTok ads and Facebook ads, and somebody sees an ad on either platforms, they're both going to get credit for the conversion that ends up happening, which might end up with deduplication of some of the conversions as said right here. Although it brings also another point, which is the fact that Triple L also solves the attribution inaccuracies. So in our case, we've seen a very big range of attribution changes for some of our clients. And it's also very different, I'd say, per market. So as an example, we have 4 brands within the Quebec market, so French Canadian market. These brands usually get under attributed by about 30 to 40% on Triple L. So if you look at ads data on Facebook itself, it's usually about 30 to 40% higher than what Triple L reports, even on an attribution way right here. And I'll get into the views in a second, but just from that perspective, there's quite a change right here. It's good because, look, the reason why you would want to use a third-party attribution software is to get more accurate attribution overall. So like definitely you want to take a look at this because it does show the corrected data per ad platform and kind of fixes any inaccuracies that you might see on these ad channels themselves. One of the models also that we actually use at the agency is the triple attribution plus views. Because again, if you remember from earlier, what Facebook and TikTok do, they do use a click and view through attribution. So the triple attribution plus views will use that model. And especially if you're running, as it says right here, an omni-channel strategy, well, it just helps because view through attribution is important if you have more than one ad channel, especially doing acquisition, and you want to make sure that views taken into account, especially as it's such on a small basis, on a one-day basis. And basically what they do right here is they'll add on top of the triple pixel ROAS, they'll add in this case, Facebook view through attribution on top of the results. Now, finally, there's a linear. They have paid and all. We will usually use paid sometimes, again, when wanting to remove any of the deduplication from ads. Again, the only caveat with using a third-party attribution software and any other reporting methods than the triple attribution plus views is the fact that you lose any view through attribution. So any of the models like linear or first click or just triple attribution, you lose any view through attribution, which again, in an omni-channel strategy is quite important to know if there's attribution made as a view. But with that said, we're still gonna look at that to see just the overall ROAS if we were to exclude any deduplication of channels. Linear, paid, or linear all would be able to do that. So on that note, again, the question that you might ask is what attribution model should you be using? So if you're on Facebook, then the 7-day click, 1-day view is the default one, and I would say it's usually the one that we stick with. A lot of people don't really like the view through attribution model, which again, I feel like, especially if you do an omni-channel, I'm going to repeat myself a lot in this video, but I do feel like it's quite important. I can do a bit more of an in-depth segment about why I think it's important. But just for now, saying that if you really don't want to use view through attribution, then 7-day click is also something that you can use for your brand. We'll usually see about a 10 to 15% difference between when view through is activated versus when it's not in terms of results reporting. So you'll get a slight bump up in results when you have view through, obviously. But one could argue that when somebody views an ad, it's still part of the customer's buying journey. From my research and what I've read online, if you quickly scroll over an ad and without paying any attention to it, it won't really count as a view through attribution. Somebody really has to pay attention to the ad for a couple seconds before it does record it as a view through attribution, which means that there's somewhat an interest shown within that. And as the conversion window is so small, right? We're talking 24 hours only. If somebody views an ad for a couple seconds, so long enough for it to record, and buys within 24 hours, chances are that ad actually influenced the buying decision. And I do want to take a couple minutes actually. I said I was going to probably do that in another video, but might as well go at it right now. If we talk about just the view through attribution, then this is where it might get in a bit of a gray zone, and I really want to explain myself. So if you're working either with an agency or if you really want to split through your different channels, view through attribution does create a bit of a gray zone, because what ends up happening is, again, if somebody just views the ad and then they get an attribution to that ad, it must mean that they did not click on this ad, therefore that they made the purchase from another source. That other source could be organic, that other source could be another ad platform, that other source could be an email, it could be just Googling, so SEO, organic. It could be many different ways, but what it means at its core is that the person did not click on this ad. Therefore, did the ad participate on the decision to buy? Yes. Why? Because that person had to stop scrolling their feed for a couple seconds, enough and long enough for it to record the conversion. But did the person click on that ad and make a purchase straight from this ad itself? No, they made the purchase with another source, meaning that it's kind of a split attribution, and one could argue that it does belong to two different sources as an example within that. So I hope this clarifies where the gray zone could be around view through attribution, and also why it's important, right? Because again, the conversion window is so small within 24 hours that there must be an impact from the ad if somebody views it and just buys really shortly afterwards. For more marketing tips about Facebook ads, TikTok ads, and e-commerce space as a whole, I'd invite you to check the description below and join our free Facebook group where you can ask any questions, and I myself am super active on there. I'll make sure to respond back to you ASAP. You also get a free exclusive 25-minute training just for you within that group. And if you're also listening to this video, but you are an e-commerce brand owner making at least $50,000 per month with your brand, then I'd love to have a chat with you and see if we're a good fit to help you scale through paid advertising. So there's also a link in the description down below for you to book in a chat with our team, and check out other videos on the channel for some more useful e-commerce marketing tips. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.